Hi everyone, my name is April and I'm going to be talking to you about a project brought to you by Amazin' Pottery. The project we are going to be discussing today is the Lovebird dish. In your kit, you would have gotten a plate that looks like this. It's got the two sections that are separated by the wing line, and they're labeled, so here you can see A, B, and C. That is important that it's done like that. Your sticker, you want to leave that on there. We're not going to peel this off. We're going to do that a little later, and I'll talk about that in a minute. In your kit, you also got, of course, your brush and 3 colors of paint. You got red, black, and this aqua color, or like minty green, I think it looks. Yeah, like a minty green color. And all 3 of these paints are speckled. They have like little speckles, grains in them, and that's gonna make them look really special when they melt in the kiln later. So, some fancy paints happening. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the other things that are not in your kit that you may want to have on hand, or should have on hand. You're going to need a small cup. It can be a little mug that you fill up with some water to wash your brush out in between your colors, and paper towel to dry your brush in between your colors, because you don't want your brush dripping wet. It'll make your paints really thin. Optional, you could get yourself a Q-tip, and I'll talk about what we're going to use that for. It's for a detail later. You don't have to use a Q-tip. You can absolutely use your brush. And last but not least, I recommend grabbing a pair of tweezers, because when we peel that sticker off, if you don't have a good fingernail to get it, the tweezers will be helpful. You can have an adult help you if you're a kid and you need a little assistance, so don't worry about it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about painting. I don't know if you have had painting classes with us before, or if you've painted with us in studio, but we're happy to have our new customers, and we're excited to have anybody returning. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to paint the wing. We're going to paint in the wing first, because we want this paint to dry. And then later we can remove this sticker, okay, that I mentioned before. So the first color you're going to need to grab is the black, and we're gonna paint the whole wing on the inside. You wanna fill it in. You can paint the lip of the edge here on the top of the wing and around the wing as well. You wanna be careful that you don't cover up the body part, because that is going to be red. So first, find your B labeled cup, which is the black, and we're gonna paint the wing. And if you have painted with before, you know this. We're going to do 3 coats, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint it once, let it dry, and it's gonna get a little chalky looking. It might look kind of like this as black, which it looks quite gray. So we're gonna let it dry. Then we're gonna do a second coat, and then we're gonna let that dry a little bit, and then we're gonna do a third coat. 3 coats will allow the colors to be really bright and solid and just gorgeous when they're all done. But before I forget, don't forget to write your name on the back of your bird plate. So take a pencil, which is not in your kit, and write your name on your bird plate. It could be on the wing, it could be on the belly, but somewhere you definitely need to write your name, because otherwise we won't know who it belongs to when we go to get it out of the kiln, because there'll be no name on it, and we want you to get your plate back. All right, so I'm gonna ask you to pause the video between steps so that you can do what you need to, and then you can play and resume the video so that you can do the rest of the project. So, step 1, paint the wing. Okay, pause the video. All right, so now that you've painted the wing, we're gonna move on to the next step, and because we want to make sure that the black paint gets a good chance to dry, we're gonna move on to the belly of the bird. So we're going to paint A. So I want you to find the A cup, which should be your red paint with the little speckles in it, and we're gonna do 3 coats. Remember, 1 coat, let it dry, do a 2nd coat, let it dry, and a 3rd coat, and allow that to dry. So the 3rd coat doesn't have to be dry before you start the next step, but first, let's focus on section A. And again, you can paint the edge of the plate on here, okay, around the whole edge of the belly to make it nice and red, just like the inside of the plate, okay? All right, everybody, we're gonna pause the video. Remember, 3 coats of your red, okay? Pause the video. So now that you've painted the belly of your bird all red, and it's gonna dry, it's gonna look kind of pink when it dries. It'll look a little like this actually right here with the little bumps inside because it's got the speckles in it. So we're gonna let that dry. While it's drying though, we can remove the sticker that I talked about, the letter C labeled teardrop inside of the wing. So this is where you may wanna use your tweezers. You can try using your fingernail and scratch the edge of the sticker. You want to be careful while you're going to peel that sticker off. You want to like start close to the edge, but you don't want to scratch the paint on your plate. So if you're having a hard time picking it up with your nail, get that pair of tweezers and start near the edge using the point of the tweezers, and you can kind of scratch the sticker off. If you press a little into the sticker and scratch it, it'll look like this. So here on the plate, I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm just going to use the point of them, and I'm just going to kind of scratch at the sticker near the edge, and you notice it just starts to pull off, and then you can pinch it with the tweezers and pull it off real easy. Okay, when you do that, you'll be left with that nice clean white space, and that is what we're gonna paint with the aqua color, the mint color, that is your 3rd and final color labeled C. Okay, so remember, how many coats? 3. So we're gonna do 3 coats of letter C inside of that teardrop inside the wing. Okay, pause the video. All right, so now your plate is completely painted. We've got our black, our red, and our teal applied to our paint, our plate, our dish. And the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in an eye on our little bird, and that's where the Q-tip may come in helpful. So you're gonna wanna use one of the ends of the Q-tip. You can dot this into your black paint, just like so. We don't want it dripping wet, just a little bit. And then you can dot this onto your bird on the eye location, which would be right behind the beak. So you can put it right here, right behind the beak, or just up a little in the head. You can just put a little dot of black there. You can do it with the Q-tip, or as an option, you could use your brush. A trick that some of you may know is using the back of the brush by dipping it into the paint, and you can make a nice dot with the back of your brush doing it too, if you don't want to use the larger end of the brush to paint a circle, which your brush might be too big for that, which is why I recommend the Q-tip. It's a little easier to control to make a nice little dot for your bird. Okay, well, that is actually the final step to make your cute little bird plate. And you're all done. Okay, so I hope you had some fun painting with us today, and we were happy to have you. So we look forward to seeing your project at the studio. Remember, please write your name on the back of your plate, your dish, so that we can get it back to you. Don't use any materials outside of a pencil. that was not included with your kit to write your name. We don't want to use crayon or markers because it could cause a problem in the kiln. So just use a pencil. This is a mechanical pencil. You can use one of those or a standard number 2 pencil to write your name on the back of your dish. Don't forget to fill off the drop-off form, and if you happen to have any extra paints, you can drop them off at the studio for recycling. All right, everybody, it was a lot of fun. Take care. Bye.